On behalf of the Professional Baseball Strength and Conditioning Coaches Society, I'd like to welcome you to the PBSCCS Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Messina. All right, everybody, before we get into the episode, we're going to play a brief message from our sponsor for this interview.
What is it that you recommend for us to take to improve my outcomes? I want to get back to my sport, to my life faster. This is true for really all our patients. So this demand of wanting to get faster, get back to their lives, their sports.
But I think in part of recovery, we have to focus on nutrition and on metabolic factors that influence the recovery rates. So usually in the first few visits when we're discussing injuries and surgeries, we bring up supplementation, nutrition, sleep, recovery, because it all plays a big factor in their healing process.
Just little things like post-operative nausea the first 2 days after, people feeling tired or maybe having more pain than expected has been made a lot better with the surgical nutrition products. And it really seems like the patients who are using XR go through those time periods easier than the patients that don't.
All right, everybody, I'm here with Jake Kistaitis of the Oakland A's organization. Jake, thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate your time. Tell the listeners about yourself, if you would, please.
Yeah, grew up in Omaha, Nebraska, went on to play college baseball at Iowa Western Community College and then on to at Metro State University in downtown Denver. After I graduated, got an internship with the Dodgers during the COVID year, was there for a few weeks, got shut down, came home, took some time off, and then went back for the instructional league that they had. Following that, didn't have my CSCS yet, so I took a year off, studied, got that certification, and then I just started applying to different orgs, any jobs that popped up, got the opportunity to join the A's and the DR, and here we are and just completed year 4 and about to enter year 5, hopefully.
So you were with the A's 2022 was your first year?
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay, I have a lot of questions right off the bat there. So first and foremost, first internship in professional baseball gets shut down by COVID. Is that correct?
Yes, it was.
Okay, tell me about that. That had to be quite an experience for you.
So it was fun. I was there for I think 2.5 or 3 weeks to start trying to pick up as much as I can, kind of getting overwhelmed because your first few weeks in pro ball, as you know, it's crazy. There's people running all over at spring training. There's at the time I think 180 guys down in minor league camp. So I'm just trying to pick up as much as I can in a short period of time. But once we find out that COVID was occurring and getting shut down, it was, oh, we're going to keep you in the hotel for a few more days because I think we're going to reboot. And then a few more days passes by. It's like, all right, no, I have to get you out of here as quickly as you can. So it was a disaster, but I still had the opportunity to do some at-home stuff on the computer to help with their home program in case this ever happened again. And so I got to still learn quite a bit about their org, met with them every week, and kind of got back into it once the quarantine ended and got down to instructs, and it was a good time.
Gotcha. Yeah, that was an absolutely chaotic time for everybody. I can only imagine trying to learn everybody's names and the system and baseball, and then oh, by the way, you're going home and we have no idea when you're coming back. So
yeah.
But I guess the lesson there is adaptability, right? That's
Absolutely.
If baseball has taught us anything, it's adaptability, right?
Absolutely.
And then you went to the DR as your next job with Oakland.
Yep.
So tell me about being in the DR. It's the one thing that I never did in baseball that is my biggest regret is I never really went down there, and I definitely never had the chance to work there.
Yeah, I think when I accepted the job, I was super excited, but also scared at the same time because you grow up in whatever lifestyle you have in the United States, and then you go to a third world country. You don't know what to expect. You don't know how safe it is. So I was asking a lot of those questions. And then once we got down there, it was fun. You live on the complex for our org. You can travel out on the weekends as a staff member. So you get to experience kind of Santo Domingo, Boca Chica, Juan Dolio, and I just kind of ventured out, went to restaurants, kind of just enjoyed my time.
Do you think if I was, let's say I'm a first-time coach or a young coach listening, do you think it's valuable to go to the DR to kind of learn some lessons getting into pro ball, or is that a step that like, all right, if you can skip it and just get a job on the state side, like it's okay?
I think it is a valuable tool to go there because one, you have to see it from their eyes and their perspective and what they go through growing up. And then you have a whole different perspective once you come back to the state side and understand what these kids are going through when they're 18, 19, coming into the complex league for the very first time.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Like I said, for me, I was in baseball almost a decade and I never went to the DR, and I had multiple trips planned, and then one of them was like COVID, one of them something else came up, and I never really got to go down there. But everybody that I talked to that has worked down there is like, dude, it's kind of chaotic, but also it really helped me to kind of learn a new language, a new culture, a new environment, and like see baseball through the eyes of those young players before they come to the States. Because a lot of the times they come to the States and we just assume they're going to acclimate to our customs and our way of life. And it's not really as easy as I think sometimes people paint that picture if they don't know. It's like if I was 16, 17, 18 years old and I got sent to another country to play a sport and I didn't know the language and I didn't know anybody, like it'd probably be pretty difficult. So I would imagine it helps you kind of put yourself in their shoes and be empathetic towards them when you were back stateside. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
So after 2020 in the DR, what was your path? Because you were in Double A this year. Like, what was your path from then to now?
So after I went from the DR, I went to Arizona at the Complex League. Finished that season in the Complex League. We were fortunate enough that there were a couple moves. Some people left, some people got promoted elsewhere. So I got the call that I was going to go to Double A in 2024. Got to experience that. That was definitely a shock for me. From first affiliates Double A, like it's now big boy baseball. Guys have been around for a few years. They know what to expect. You have no idea what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I handled it pretty well. Went back this past season and I feel like I kept growing as a coach. I kept building good relationships with guys, and now I understand, well, I have a better understanding of what needs to be accomplished day to day and how these guys need to prepare. Because last year we had an older group, this year is a younger group. So now I've kind of worked with more walks of life in that regard. But yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I went from the Appy League, which is like advanced rookie, it's not even around anymore, up to Double A. And I went from the Pirates to the Red Sox. So I made the jump from a different org and from rookie ball to Double A. And I got absolutely bodied my first year, definitely like the first couple months of my first year. And I think, like you said, like you get a better understanding of how things operate. You never really fully like, yeah, I got this on lockdown, because when you think you do, like something else goes crazy or wrong. And the other thing with Double A is like kind of same boat. Is like one year I had a team with a bunch of dudes that had like a little bit of service time in the big leagues that were older. And then the next year we would have a bunch of young prospects. So like you think you understand the operation of the level, and then things totally change. And I feel like Double A is kind of that separator league where you have some guys kind of hanging on that are still trying to, get one last shot at the big leagues. And then you have a bunch of these young prospects coming up and kind of everybody in between. So I think we'll get into it a little bit more here later about being in the Texas League for you. But first, I want to know what your best professional baseball story is. Either something that makes you laugh, something that makes you smile, something you're proud of. Just what sticks out the most for you thus far?
I would have to say, honestly, clinching our division the past 2 years to then make it to the playoffs. I feel like just seeing the pure joy in faces after that occurred during the celebration it was something I never expected, but it was a blast. Get to hang out with the guys post game and just enjoy your time, not have to worry about anything else that day.
Yeah, that's always a fun time. Did you guys end up winning it either year, or did you go to the playoffs?
Now, we made it to the championship round both years and lost in game 3 both years.
Man, that's tough. That's
Yeah.
tough.
So we're
Well, at least you
close.
got to experience, right?
Yeah,
It's better than nothing.
absolutely.
See, when I was in double A, we didn't have split halves. So I was in double A 3 years. So each year, like either our first half of the year would be really bad, and then we'd bring up a bunch of prospects for the second half and we'd do really well in the second half. But like overall in the season, we weren't good enough to make the playoffs.
Yep.
Or the following year, all those prospects would be there early in the year and we would
they
do really well, and then they would get promoted and we just wouldn't do well the second half. So we never made the playoffs when I was in the minor league, so I never really got to experience that stuff. But yeah, everybody that I've heard from that has done it, whatever level you're at and you're winning, it doesn't really matter. It always feels better to win, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. So what do you believe in within strength and conditioning that others think you are crazy for believing?
I feel like that's a tough question.
Yeah,
I'd have to say being in pro ball, being away from your normal base, wherever that might be. I feel like a lot of people look at me like, you move every 6 months. Like, there's no way you can do that. I'm like, it happens every year. Every year you're stationed somewhere new. Sometimes you repeat it, and you just got to make the most out of what you have.
Okay, yeah, this is actually probably a great conversation topic. So I was talking to somebody the other day, one of our young interns that I work with, about the flow of baseball and kind of the trajectory of all the leagues and like how every league has a strength coach. And I was like, yeah, during the season, a lot of times either the organization will give you housing allowance or they will just, set you up in an apartment, or you'll get like a host family or something. And the person I was talking to was like, oh, so you just move? And I was like, well, like I still lived in Phoenix, but then I had a separate apartment in Portland or in, up in Providence in Rhode Island. Like you have multiple apartments that you're paying for at the same time. And also one of them is a short-term lease. The other is a long-term lease, but you're paying that lease when you're not there. And they're like, what? Like, it's kind of crazy. I'm like, yes, like if you've never experienced the baseball life, it really is just different. And it's something that you have to acclimate to for sure. So I can definitely appreciate that being something crazy for you. And if you're in the college setting, there's a whole bunch of other crazy things, but you're not necessarily moving as much, at least from what I understand. I've never actually worked college, but I have friends that do it. So totally understand where you're coming from.
Yep.
Okay, so let's talk about the Texas League. You were the strength coach of the year this year. First of all, congratulations. I've had many strength coaches of the year on here. It's voted on by your peers. So something is being done right by yourself that other people are taking note of. So I just want to have a conversation about it with you. It's like, what is it that you're doing that makes you successful that other people are acknowledging that you're doing so well?
I would say just trying to give teams as much time in the weight room as possible, especially when they're on the road, because being in that baseball life, yeah, that not typically it's like 9 to 12 a.m. Slot every morning. And there's so many guys that they wake up, it's like, oh, I'm exhausted. We got done last night at 11. I didn't get to bed till 1, 2 a.m. Like, I can't get up to get this lift. So offering that extra time throughout the day and like a BP round, or hey, we have this slot open, you can come and get some more guys in here. I think that's been the key difference from last season to this season, is offering more time to other teams so then they don't feel like they're just forcing guys to come in.
When that happens, do you have your guys in there too, or is it like you guys are out on the field so the slot is kind of open for the other team to come in?
Typically I'll make sure it's like when we're on the field during BP, there's occasionally where I'll have like one guy that just had got like a starter just threw a side for that day. I'll be like, hey, I just got one guy I got to take care of, but you guys are more than welcome to be in there. And no one's ever had an issue. And then it's the same thing at other places. Like they'd never have an issue, or I never have an issue with their guys being in there because that is their space. We're just fortunate enough to use it. So I just try to reciprocate that whole situation.
Yeah, for sure. I had one when I was in AAA, we had one situation where we had a day game. We were playing at home, and the strength coach from the other team was like, hey, do you think I can bring a couple guys over this morning? And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. And our guys threw an absolute fit. And I was like, okay, first of all, it's a Sunday day game. None of you guys are lifting. You're literally just mad that they're in the gym right now, number one. And number two, take a look who's in there. And it was Syracuse. So the Syracuse team that year had like 70 or 80 years of combined big league experience. Like they just had a bunch of veterans. So like our guys like take a peek in the weight room and there's like 3 or 4 guys that have combined like 30 plus years in the big leagues, and they're all like, oh, never mind. I'm like, yeah, like let them have their space. Like I understand you guys, this is our home territory. Like you feel like they're encroaching a little bit, but one, none of you are doing anything this morning. I already asked you and you said no. And now just because they're in there, you guys happen to want to lift during that time. I'm like, all right, we're done with this. But yeah, it can be challenging, man. It really is. You know, a lot of times when I was there, like we would do the gym bus in the morning, and guys would hate getting up at like 9-10 o'clock after a night game the night before, and then lift and then get lunch and go to the field. So it's like, can we lift at the field? And then it's like, you have the trunk, but there's not a ton of stuff in the trunk. You're like, well, can we go in the other weight room? It's like, well, they're all in there right now. It's like, what about during BP? So I understand totally. And I think anybody listening that's from the minor leagues can probably respect you allowing other people to use your space when it's possible. What's your setup like there? Where are you at in AA? Where's your
We're in Midland, Texas.
Okay. How's your weight room and everything? Is it kind of spacious, or is it like minor league tight setup?
Ours is actually pretty spacious. We have probably the second biggest one in the Texas League, I would say. And
Okay.
it's pretty open. We're hoping to get some more equipment in there just to add and allow more guys to get in and at the same time. But for what we have, it works really well. I've never had any teams complain. They get in, get out. It's no issues.
Outside of the weight room stuff, what other things do you think makes a strength and conditioning coach successful, either in the professional baseball setting or just in general?
I would say building relationships is probably the most important, because once you have that relationship built with a player, them buying into your program or buying into you as a human is going to allow that relationship to move onward and upward, because they know that you're in it for them, not for yourself. Like that's one thing I always tell guys is I don't care what I do as long as I'm helping you. My goal is to get you to the big leagues. How can I get you there? I don't want to I don't want to be the reason your journey's going that direction. I just want to be a part of it, knowing that you got there because it's your dream.
Correct. 100%. And I think honestly, that probably extends also to the staff, like the medical staff, the baseball staff. Like if you're there and you're just putting the players first and you're putting their dreams first and you're trying to help them, like everybody's kind of pulling the same rope. Obviously there's going to be differences of opinion and things like that, but if you have the player at the front of mind, at the top of your mind with every decision you make, like I don't really think you can go wrong. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, I would echo that one for sure. And then how about advice for others in the field, either young coaches looking to get in or older coaches just trying to stay on top of things? Like what advice do you have?
One, continue to build good relationships with everyone in the building, because it's a long season being in the same room as, I guess, 40 people total. So there's going to be days where you're going to not want to say a word to anybody, but figure out ways to communicate without coming off one way or another, whether it's good or bad. Another thing I would say is just be present with where you're at. Like I'm guilty of it myself. I'm not a patient person all the time. Sometimes I have to pull myself back and be like, all right, I'm here. Like look at what I've accomplished so far, and I have to accept that and honestly just enjoy it. Because the more I enjoy it, the more fun it is on the day-to-day grind, especially once you get into the later months like August, September. Like everyone else is excited to go home. It's like we still get to be here. Like I still have a job in baseball. I love baseball. I love the weight room, and I get to combine both. So I just like to enjoy where I'm at.
All of that is really good, man. And I'm also guilty that when I was in AA and then especially in AAA, like I was just in a rush to get to the big leagues. And I was like, I deserve to be in the big leagues. I should be in the big leagues. And I think there were times where either myself or the people close to me kind of had to kick me in the ass a little bit and be like, hey, like be where you're at. Like, yes, you'll get there someday. But today is not that day. So let's focus on where you're at. And I think this is kind of a conversation I've had more recently with some people, right? It's like players can move up and down during the season. So like their performance might be more directly correlated to things in the short term. But like generally speaking, strength coaches don't move up and down mid-season. So like you can be bitter all you want, or you can be upset that you're not in a certain place at a certain time. But if it's July 12th and you're in Midland, Texas, like July 13th, you're still going to be in Midland, Texas. You know what I mean? So like you might as well just make the most of today and really be present and really enjoy it. Like you said, I think that goes such a long way, because at the end of the day, like, is baseball a grind? Yes. Are the days really long? Yes. You play a lot of games? Yes. But you get to wear shorts. You get to be in the weight room. You get to be around, elite athletes. And then at the end of the day, you get to watch a baseball game. Like, that's a pretty good life. You know what I mean? At least to some people, you know what I mean? When I was in, that's kind of how it was. Like, my wife doesn't really care about sports or baseball. She's like, I don't really care if I ever watch a baseball game again, where I'm like, as of this recording last night, I'm watching like the extra innings Tigers and Mariners game, just sitting on the couch, like, let's go, what's going on here? And, I have friends on both sides of the field. So I'm like feeling really happy for one, feeling really upset for the other. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, man, I think you got to enjoy it. It's otherwise it just eats you up. I would agree with you 100%. Continuing education resources. Where do you go to stay on top of things? Just books that you're reading, seminars you're attending, podcasts you're listening to, just anywhere you're going to stay on top of things?
So I think I'm kind of all over the place in this area. I think every off season you find something that you're interested in, and then you just try and learn as much as you can, and then figure out how to utilize that on the day to day. I think this year I want to get better at increasing my knowledge on nutrition. So I'm going to do the precision nutrition course this off season. And that way it will help me kind of maximize my ability to help an athlete. Because on the day-to-day process, or on the day-to-day, guys always ask me like, hey, I'm eating this, this, and this, but I feel tired still. Like, what can I do to maximize my nutrition? And I can give basic answers, but I want to be able to provide more in-depth answers and allow them the most knowledge I can. So I'm taking that upon myself this year. Another way, I don't really have podcasts I follow. I just like following people and just seeing what posts are coming out. And then I think it through like, okay, I like this. I don't like this. Why do I like it? Why not? And I just kind of put it into my own words in my head. And then I enjoy it there, because then you're learning a lot. So
It's kind of the double-edged sword of social media, right? It's like, if you can look at a post and you can filter it through your own lens and kind of take what's good and leave the rest, then it's really valuable. But there's also the other side of that, where I see like there's somebody that has a big time influence that posts like, all right, here's my 3 exercises I'm doing. And then all of a sudden the next day it's like, all right, somebody else is posting like, I'm doing these in my program because I saw this person do it. It's like, you didn't really filter that through where it fits. You kind of just threw it in because you saw someone else doing it. You know what I mean? So I agree with you. I think there's certain people that I like to follow that I think they're like what they're putting out is really valuable, but also it's not always valuable to the situation I'm in. And even for me, like when I was in professional baseball, there were certain things that wouldn't have made sense that now that I'm in the private setting, they do make sense. And I think being able to filter that accordingly for yourself is really valuable for sure. The only other thing I have for you, Jake, is just the lightning round, 4 questions, as long or short of answers as you'd like. And then I'll let you go. I know it's a Saturday morning, college football's on, so I don't want to keep you forever, but you cool with that?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. First one, who is your biggest influence in the field of strength and conditioning?
I would say I have 2 there. One is Brandon McDaniel with the Dodgers. He's a family friend. We have the same little background story of being from this area in Omaha, Nebraska. Kind of both went and played D2 baseball. Noticed we weren't good enough to keep going. So it's like, how can I stick around? What can I do to stay in baseball, but also enjoy the weight room as well? And then my other one is Carl Cochin, who's with the Cardinals. He was my mentor during my internship, and he made it difficult on me, but for me to get better. I was on the phone with him about 2 weeks ago, just picking his brain on some stuff, and I was asking him questions. He's like, all right, now think through your own questions. You answer your own without me giving you the answer. And that has always been good for me because not many people challenge me in that way. So getting that feedback from someone you don't talk to on the day to day, it's awesome.
Yeah, two really good guys to have in your corner for sure. If you only had one piece of equipment to train with, what would it be?
Ooh. If I only had one piece of equipment, I'd probably say kettlebell because I just think there's so much versatility with what you can do, and there's nothing that you really can't accomplish with the kettlebell.
For sure. What is your biggest accomplishment professionally and or personally?
I would say making it to where I'm at. Um, if you would ask me 5, 6 years ago where I'd be today, I would tell you probably personal training somewhere at a local facility. So being in professional baseball one, but being at AA, like I think that's an amazing accomplishment for myself. So I would say that for sure.
Any career other than strength and conditioning, what would you choose?
Ooh, that one's tough. I'm currently actually looking into vending machines with a
Really?
friend back home. So I think trying to get into vending machine sales would be the career.
Okay, we'll talk about that after this. I actually have somebody that's in my circle that is also looking at vending machines. Very strange, but closet, I think they're like pretty profitable from
Oh,
what
yeah.
our conversations are.
Yep.
Jake, if the listeners want to get in touch with you, where can we go? Is social media the best place, or should we go somewhere else?
Social media, you can reach out
Perfect.
on Instagram, LinkedIn, or you can just email me and I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you have.
Awesome. Jake, I appreciate your time. I'm sure we'll be catching up again soon, and enjoy whatever off season you get to have, man, after the long grind of the season.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
All right, everybody, that's going to conclude this episode with Jake. I hope you enjoyed this one. This was my first time connecting with Jake, and I really enjoyed our conversation. His story definitely resonates with me, having been from a small town, playing some college baseball, and then really just trying to stick around the game and pursuing jobs in professional baseball. Also, I appreciate his advice and his kind of insights on how to be successful. Obviously, he won the Texas League Strength Coach of the Year, so he's definitely doing some things right out there. 3 things that I took from Jake in this episode: you should try to build quality relationships with everyone in the building, not just the athletes you work with. The more time you take to truly enjoy and show appreciation in your current situation, the easier it becomes to get through difficult moments in time. And continuing education becomes more valuable when you can take what you are learning and actually apply it to your specific setting. Before we sign off here, I just want to say congratulations again to Jake for winning the Texas League Strength Coach of the Year, and I want to give one more shout out to our sponsor, Accelerated Recovery, for sponsoring this interview. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed the episode, and we'll talk to you again on the next one.